Hey guys, welcome to what we believe is episode 6 of Off the Cuff. We're back with myself and Grayson.
Right. What's up, guys?
And we got a special guest today, Mr. Eric Kite Key. It's Kite. It's Kite. Okay, just making sure. So he's visiting for the week from Texas, where everything is bigger.
Including, yes,
including the watch faces.
Including the watches, yes. The watches are bigger.
The watches, of course. And we're just gonna, shoot the shit and talk about some watches. Today we got some beautiful gold Rolexes for you, and that's kind of gonna be the theme of today's show is, gold and, where we see the market going, in 2022. We hope you all had a great new year. And we hope you all buy some crap from us in the future.
Nice. Always putting the plugs in.
Always putting the plugs in. Yeah.
Always be selling.
It's a great time to buy some stuff from Taylor Timepieces.
This episode of Off the Cuff is brought to you by Off the Cuff, our main advertising partner, Off the Cuff, and Taylor Timepieces. And Taylor Timepieces. A diverse group of people all interested in selling you a watch.
And look, if you want to join the Great Resignation, everyone likes to retire and get handed a golden watch. We have
that's right
here for you.
Why wait for your shithole company to give you a gold Rolex when you can just fucking buy one from Tailored Timepieces?
Boom.
Your shithole company that you're probably going to quit, it's a shithole. I know. Yeah. I'm guessing. I'm just assuming.
Yeah.
We're off to a great start.
You're probably watching this video.
We should bring Eric in every week.
Yeah, they're probably watching this video now at their shit jobs, trying to waste
This is
time.
the first episode of the podcast you've seen. It's typically different. We've injected some energy from Eric over on the side. That's good.
Eric had a long flight here, so bear with him, guys.
Since he is our esteemed guest, we'll start with him. What are you wearing today?
I am wearing a Panerai Ferrari. It's an 09. It's like 4 zeros and a 9 is the reference. FER00009. And it is a tremendously simple black dial with the Ferrari prancing horse shield. Very cool crown on this watch. It has a small, just backing up, the dial actually has an inner kind of grayed out subdial. It's got the GMT hand as well, so this is a GMT function on it. And then it also has the small seconds over to the right. Not a chronograph. What's interesting about this watch actually is it does sort of have that blend between the Betterini style case and the 1950s. It has these flared lugs on the bottom, which kind of gives it a little bit of a extra meatiness. My favorite thing on this watch, and I think it's not even that it's just specific to this watch, it's the strap. If you've ever sat or driven in a Ferrari, the strap is meant to mirror or be inspired by the seats, those black leather seats that have that kind of like rolled, insert on them. So it's like kind of looking at the real thing. And then also another cool feature of this watch is the crown actually has a odd locking mechanism, and so you can kind of pull it out, but then when you put it back in, you actually have to kind of line up there's a little yellow dot on the crown, and as long as it's facing you and you push it in and turn it backwards, it like locks up the crown, gives you some water resistance. So it's actually kind of simple, and you don't have to like do a bunch of screwing, on it. So I mean, I love screwing, but not all watches. So anyway, that's what I'm wearing. I'm wearing the Ferrari quad zeros and a 9 reference, and it's not a crazy expensive watch.
For all you non-French speakers, quad is 4.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, that's right. For those of you that don't speak French, quad is 4. Yeah. And it can be had for about $4,500 from Tailored Timepieces. Yeah. So it's for sale, and take it off my wrist. Come on.
Yeah, and to go with Grayson, because Grayson actually just picked up something today.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, in my opinion, the best Speedmaster. It might be controversial to some, but it's the Omega Speedmaster Dark Side of the Moon. So ceramic piece. It's got, I believe it's the 9300 Omega movement, coaxial. Of course, the George Daniels invention that Omega's famously used in their watches for so long. And I think this is just a killer speedy. I think this is the ultimate pinnacle of innovation for a really timeless design. I think just taken into the modern world with a killer automatic movement in ceramic, and all black everything, baby.
I think we should have a contest to see how many scratches we can put into it.
Wait, it's a ceramic
it's
watch.
It's a ceramic case.
As long as you don't, drop this from 10 feet in the air and shatter the whole watch, it will never scratch.
It's completely and utterly scratch proof, guaranteed.
Yeah, and
not by us.
It's got sandblasted, with the dials. So that's pretty cool how they did that, and it's just really smooth. And it's interesting. You know that Omega was onto something because they've made so many iterations of this watch. You have the dark side of the moon, you have the gray side of the moon, the blue side of the moon. Then they came up with a deep black side of the moon, which they just came out with recently. It's fully blacked out. And listen, this is where it all started. And in my opinion, it's like a Seamaster 300. It's like, why fix it if it's not broken? So, if you want something OG and you want something cool that, it's going to match with everything, I think that Seamaster is, or the Speedmaster rather, is the way to go.
Yeah, it's a great piece. It's a great going out watch in the evening because of the all black look.
Yeah.
Definitely something that you want to wear on the subway. In New York City, yeah.
Definitely hiding it under the sweater when you're on the subway here in the city. But it's a great piece. I'm loving it.
Yeah, speaking of something that you might not want to hide on the subway, you got this diamond dial 36mm Rolex. And, this is an interesting piece because it's got that two-tone colorway. And I just think it's cool. I mean, listen, two-tone is coming back, especially among the younger generation. I think two-tone is definitely making a comeback. Something like this is cool because, it's got that white face, that classic two-tone bracelet. And it's got some diamonds here, and I just think that's the next step. It gives a little bit of oomph, on your wrist, where, that white dial is kind of classic and, kind of basic. And then you get those diamonds in, and they help pop the watch a little bit. I see so many iced out pieces, and people go overboard. And you got the iced out bezel and the iced out bracelet, and these carats and 8 carat this and 9 carat that. And this is just simple. It's classic. They basically took something that I forget what's the date on this, 94. What?
It's early 90s.
And early 90s, and they just kind of updated it with these diamonds, and they're OEM, and I just think it's an awesome watch for someone who wants something basic, and they want to try to expand their watch palette, so to speak.
Nick, what do you say to all the people that say, that's a grandpa watch, dude?
I wish my grandfather had this watch. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about taste and personal taste. And I think, to my point earlier, elegance and that kind of classic vintage look is coming back. I see more people, 100%. Enjoying, classic watches and vintage watches, especially these days, because watches, thankfully and also unfortunately are becoming more of a investment piece and more of an asset. So, something like this, you can have a Rolex for about between $7 and $8 and get something like this. And, this would be a really great first Rolex for not just men, but women as well, because it is a 36. And, I see so many people, especially in New York on Wall Street, they always tell me when I get clients, they're like, hey, I just started my first job. I want a sub. I want a sub no date. I want a sub date. I want a blue dial date just. Something like this, it's the same, but it's different enough that you'll be able to stand out from your friends. And, maybe, Christmas came by and, you have a little extra money, or maybe you want to get something for that special woman in your life, and
You will be in her good graces.
You will be in her good
buy
graces.
Her Rolex.
Yeah, or maybe you forgot to get something for the woman in your life. This
and
past holiday season.
Somehow she's still around even on the 3rd of January.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe she's still packing her bags, and you're like, hey, maybe if I pick up this Rolex, everything will be forgotten. It's a good bet,
Well, speaking of Rolex, we have 2 solid gold pieces for you.
2 solid gold pieces.
You want to start with the Daytona, Nick?
Yeah, let's start with this Daytona.
Let's do it.
So this is the solid gold. It's the 16518?
16518.
16518.
It's the pre-in-house. So this is the Zenith movement. It's the 40-30 caliber. This is a El Primero movement that has been heavily modified by Rolex. A lot of people say, well, it's just the Zenith movement. Yeah, it's the Zenith movement as far as the base caliber goes, but Rolex made somewhere to the tune of 200 modifications or something like that to this movement. Tremendously cut down the number of pieces. For many of you that may know this, some of you may not know this, the Zenith El Primero movement is actually a very complicated, when I say complicated, I don't mean it has a lot of complications. I mean, it's an actually very mechanically complex, and there's a lot of parts, and it's a very solid movement, but it's also, when you're Rolex and you're trying to deliver a pretty reliable chronograph in large numbers, you need to cut down on some of the pieces. And so the 40-30 caliber is basically a modified El Primero that's been designed to be a little bit more reliable and last a little longer.
Yeah,
that's
the
story.
interesting thing about the Daytona model is very little changes are made with the model throughout the years. You have the pre-ceramic ones, and you have the steel ones, and you have the ceramic ones, and they all kind of follow that same pattern. Very similar to what I said before. On the Speedmaster is if it's not broke, you don't try and fix it.
Yep.
And this is something that, yes, the movement changes, but if you're looking for that non-vintage look, but for that vintage price point, something like this would be great. I mean, it's a 1998. It's a serial. It's a used serial watch, and I mean, it is watch only. Here, tailor timepieces, but at the end of the day, you're not going to wear the box. You're not going to wear the papers.
No.
We authenticate everything here in house, and we have a special team of people that work with us as well. And it's like Eric said.
Push that up towards the camera and also show off the bezel. It's kind of that newer style bezel. So pre-ceramic, it's the same style, font, characters, spacing, triangles as the ceramic bezel. It's not that older style bezel. Quite a nice Daytona. Feels still very modern, even though it's from 20 years ago.
Just about.
I mean,
we're all getting old.
Yeah. How long ago was 1998?
It would be about 22, 23 years ago,
23
depending on the
years ago.
date. Yeah. I just think to your earlier point too, Nick, about Rolex, just subtly changing their movements every year. You see this with really prestigious and classic brands, right? The Porsche 911 comes to mind as a design language that has kind of persisted through time, with just slowly evolving and modernizing with new technology. But essentially, it's the same design language that it was in the 1960s. And I think we see that with a lot of Rolex pieces, and it's for a reason. It's classic for a reason. This will always be, this will always look great in your wrist.
Yeah.
50 years from now, this will be a killer piece. It will continue to be that 100 years from now. And that's just a testament to their design.
Yeah, 50 years from now, it'll be worth $150,000 too.
Right.
Right now there's a little bit of an advantage on the buyer side with a Zenith Daytona, mainly because the 40-30, the Zenith movement, just the older stock is not quite as prized as some of the newer stock on if you're selling the watch. But if you're looking to wear a Daytona and pay not a lot of money for it, you can have that watch for how much?
28.
28.
You know,
28,000, not $28. But
yeah,
and you know, nobody is going to know that that's a Zenith Daytona unless they really know Daytonas.
Yeah.
That's got the Arabic numerals on the dial as well, which is kind of it's not the racing dial, but it has the straight non-italicized Arabic numerals, and it'll stand out. It's going to look a little bit unique, and you know, it'll be a little bit of a break from the kind of standard white and black ceramics that you see today, which are beautiful, but you know, these are a little bit more uncommon to see out there in the wild now. So.
Yeah. We have, speaking of something uncommon to see out there in the wild, you know, we have this solid gold Yachtmaster, and I think the reference is 11628. Or 16628.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Whatever it is. And, you know, this is also watch only, but, you know, if you want to talk about value for your dollar, it's very hard to find a full gold watch under 30 grand in the Rolex, you know, especially now with, you know, prices going up. You know, they just raised prices by 4 to 10% across the board, which we can talk a little bit about that later. But I mean, this thing is just beautiful. It's hefty.
Yeah.
It's
a heavy watch.
It stands the test of time. It's got a white dial, so it really helps pop with, you know, if you see the red on the dial as well. And, you know, the bracelet, you know, it's very versatile, you know, and that's what I like about the piece. You know, Grayson was mentioning, or you worried about pieces like these being considered old men pieces. And I just feel like something like this, it just, you won't feel that way. I mean, it's got a lot of weight to it, and you can definitely feel like there's something on your wrist. And for those people who, you know, want to feel like they're wearing a watch, this is something for you.
Yeah. It's not like one of those vintage pieces where you kind of forget that you have it on. You maybe one of the pins fell out.
Yeah, you know, or even so, like, you know, I think
a
lot of vintage, I think a lot of people get vintage because they want to feel like they're wearing the real deal without the money, you know, wearing the real deal. And this is the real deal. I mean, this is
100%.
You know, I mean, we're looking at $25,000 for a piece like this, and you know, it is watch only. But at the end of the day, you're gonna have this thing in your wrist so much that you're not gonna put it down. You're not gonna, you know, you can enjoy it. It's a beautiful summer watch. You take the strap off. You know, perfect thing would be to put the white strap that's on that Daytona. You know, getting a white strap would be really awesome on this piece.
Perfect summer piece.
You know, it's a perfect summer piece, and you know, for the boardwalk or the boardroom, you know, this is definitely something that you can enjoy.
Yeah. Well, you know, we should talk about too that, you know, there's definitely a line between a watch and jewelry, and an all gold watch is as much jewelry as it is a time telling device on your wrist. And so, you know, going to the point that Nick just made about the weight, yes, you know, you want a little bit of droop, you want to feel like you're wearing jewelry. And you know, the old man piece is maybe coming back, or I'm in my 30s now and I guess I'm wearing old man pieces, but I've worn this watch, and you feel good. You feel a little bit more accomplished than, well, I felt a little bit more accomplished than I am. I felt like I was enjoying something way out of my league when I was wearing it. But yeah, fabulous piece. But definitely bear in mind it's jewelry when it gets to that point.
But that's why you wear watches, right? You wear watches because you want to have that confidence and have that appreciation for the craftsmanship, the design.
You know,
I don't give a shit about any of that fucking shit. What I care about is I want to put it in people's faces and say, I'm wearing my watch. I want to do the Alec Baldwin scene from Glengarry Glen Ross when he drops this on Ed Harris's desk and he says, "You see this watch? This watch costs more than your car." You know, that's what I want to do. No,
I mean, he's kidding, but he's not. I think the one interesting thing about this hobby is everyone has a different reason for why they wear watches, and I mean, this is, you know, a piece like this, you know, it it's an ego contest. Who's got the nicest watch, who's got the coolest piece. And I guarantee you that 9 times out of 10, wearing a piece like that, you're going to have the coolest watch in the room.
Yeah. Well, this is actually going back to the true, appreciation of horology. The two-tone 36 millimeter Datejust, the all gold Yachtmaster, the off the beaten path Zenith Daytona. I mean, these are actually like true horological devices that you can appreciate in there that are unique. I mean, do you want to be the guy in the room with a 2021, 2022 dated Batgirl? Or do you want to be the guy in the room with, the 36 millimeter two-tone Datejust that has sentimental value?
Or the Yachtmaster. I mean,
Well,
listen, the way that things are going, that Batgirl is going to cost about the same as that Yachtmaster. And you won't turn nearly as many heads, in my opinion.
No.
The chicks are going to go, they're going to just,
melt.
Yeah. Seeing this on. I mean,
Dripping.
Yeah.
When
dripping.
they see you in that.
I'm going to put it on right now, actually.
They're going to be dripping in excitement, guys.
Yeah, they're going to be dripping.
We'll leave it at that.
They're going to see you, and they're going to say, that's daddy right there.
Please
I'm
don't
coming
demonetize us, YouTube.
Yeah, that's daddy. Well, come on. I mean, how much money are we really making off the podcast anyway? I'm now.
Support us on Patreon too.
Oh, look at that! Look at that droop on the bottom.
Yeah.
That is jewelry.
Now he just has small ass wrists, but imagine the same effect.
We have a dealer friend that we get watches from every once in a while, and every time I know he's been wearing them when like 20 links are taken out of the fucking watch.
He's got
it's like head only and an elastic band wrapped around the fucking lug.
He's got like a 5-inch wrist.
Yeah, I'm just like, wow, like I don't know. It's like I feel like
children's NATO.
How do you?
He shops at the Baby Gap, but he's cool because he's a nice
He's
guy.
a cool baby. He's just a really cool baby with these like.
It's DJ Khaled's kid. He took off all the links from the president to put it on his 5-year-old son.
Yeah,
that's exactly the same.
So this actually happened.
Yeah.
100%.
Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, you want that hang. I mean, presidents, all gold. You want it to hang a little bit. It's jewelry. You want to feel like a big boss. So
yeah.
But I feel way cooler than these two wearing this now.
Well, I think just in general, Eric's way cooler.
You guys know that I am better than you, right? You're aware of that.
The next time that we want to make all of our viewers just soaking, we'll invite you back out to New York.
Oh, look at this! I got a Ferrari shield on my shirt and a gold Yachtmaster on my wrist.
Not trying to prove anything.
I own neither of those things.
He's not big leaguing
nobody. Well, I'm not. Yeah. But anyway, I obviously have a lot of money. Look at this. I mean, actually, to be a little bit more serious, gold is something. Gold, specifically on a timepiece, is something that you should buy when you achieve something that you want to be able to look down and kind of think about and remember. And, we were making a lot of jokes here, but in all seriousness, I mean, there's an occasion for a gold watch. And so if we can ever help you find that piece, call us, look us up, contact myself or Nick or Grayson or whatever, and we'll help you find it.
The most special watches in your collection are ones that mark special occasions or you have tied to special moments in your life. Graduation, retirement, like we talked about, gold Rolex as the stereotype for that. A big business achievement, a big birthday.
Yeah, I mean,
30, 40, 50.
My first keeper is the Panero 911, and everyone looks at me and they go, "Oh, it's just a green dial based Panero. Why don't you sell it and get something else?" And I said, "It's my first year of business. That was the piece I wanted, and I don't think I'm ever going to sell it. It marks my first year of business." And same is true with Grayson's Tudor. He's got a Tudor Black Bay Pepsi.
Yeah.
And listen, he's wearing a beautiful watch, a more expensive watch, but that's his piece, and he's just not.
It'll never be worth more to me than that Tudor will be.
Yeah.
No Rolex will be worth more to me.
Yeah.
Than that
That's
Tudor.
until he buys a Patek. But
Until I buy the Rolex, then I'll change the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe we will have to grab a Patek and show it off on the podcast.
Yeah, that would be great.
The video podcast, I guess. But,
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, so this has been Off the Cuff, episode 6. I'm Nick, with your co-host Grayson, and our special guest Eric. And thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for having me, Nick.
No problem.
We will see you guys next time.
See you next time. Bye-bye.